because a band decided to do something a little different? And then Corey Taylor from Slipknot decides to jump in and say, whoa. I get what you're saying there, Chester, but he decides to chime in on Twitter. I get what you're saying there, Chester, but we have to be fortunate and grateful that these fans care so much about our music. Now, I get that too, but I don't like this kind of snarkiness with fans. And this is really a problem with social media. It used to be that musicians were kind of up on this plateau, and you could not communicate with them, really. You would write them letters, you might send them, I don't know, a pictured autograph, something, and maybe they'd sign their name, or maybe you'd get a phone call or something like that. But it wasn't like it is today, where people have direct access to not only musicians, but athletes and all sorts of public figures. It's this whole reality TV type thing, and people will go on the attack just to get more Twitter followers. It's ridiculous. When you're somebody like Chester Bennington, who took the time, who took so much effort and put it into his craft, was always working, was always trying to do something different, was always trying to grow and develop as a musician, then this must have been heartbreaking. I mean, even in one of his recording sessions, they do what they call a nu metal version of Heavy. And it kind of makes me feel good, because this was recorded kind of raw. And to listen to them, they sound just like my band live. Just like my band in the studio, just like us. I was like, oh, well, Linkin Park sounds like us in the studio. Well, hey, that's something, right? But anyway, so we aren't, making millions of dollars off of records, and Linkin Park is, but it just feels good to know that Linkin Park sounds like us a little bit. So anyway, so basically, like he says at the end of it, here's your fucking hybrid theory. Now fuck off. I mean, this must have hurt Chester quite deeply, because he was all about it on Twitter, going after people on Twitter, saying, fuck you and this and that. Because there's nothing worse than working so hard on something and thinking, man, everybody's going to like it. And then they don't, it's the biggest disappointment. And especially when you've been Linkin Park. Now, another thing happened on tour in France with Chester. And he was, they were up there and they were playing their old standards, and then they broke into Heavy and someone threw a big jug at him. I don't think Linkin Park was used to that kind of fan interaction. But, he played it off and said everyone was great at Hellfest, and that was the name of the gig. Said everyone was great at Hellfest. Everyone was awesome. We love the fans moshing and everything else. And, and he basically flipped off the guys who threw the jug at him, and they gave him little hearts, with their hands, little hearts. But yeah, it just tells you how mean and cruel the music industry is and how hard it is. I mean, that must have broken his heart. And I know from his lyrics, I mean, if he was being true blue with his lyrics, he didn't feel too happy about himself, And to have something kind of fall on its ass, I just want to say to his fans and to Linkin Park fans, well, good job, if that indeed was the reason. Now, if that indeed was a reason and played a factor in it, yeah, Chester's a little sensitive. Should be a little less sensitive these days, especially after this many years in the business. But still, if it weren't for social media, trolls, idiots going out there and basically trying to make an enemy of Chester Bennington, then maybe it wouldn't have happened. Who knows? I just don't know how you leave a wife and 6 kids. I don't fucking get that. And at this point, I just want to speak my piece about Chester himself. If I were to talk to Chester, I would say, Chester, the fuck is wrong with you, man? I've been a musician for 22 years. The largest place I played held 300 people. It was full. The largest crowd I played in front of was 300 people. It's for a record release party for a band called The Dogs I was in. And the place was packed. And I felt like $1 million there. You get to play in front of millions of people every year. You are basically signed to Warner Brothers until the day you die. No pun intended there. I meant a very long time. You're basically signed forever to Warner Brothers, one of the labels that is actually still relevant. And you decide to do this, but not just professionally, but man, you took away the chance to hear more Linkin Park material, to see Linkin Park live. All those millions of fans who bought tickets for your shows will not see you now. Could have been seeing you for the first time. Chester, you had a responsibility to these fans. They believed in you, man. They believed in your lyrics. They believed in what you put out there. They listened to your lyrics. These people have been commenting all day on YouTube videos, on social media, about the things you wrote and the things you sang and how it helped them through hard times. Why couldn't it help you? Why couldn't it help you? Didn't you realize, Chester, your impact on people? The impact on a young 22-year-old, completely lost, damn near homeless, living on a floor, who would listen to your shit on repeat, dude. Because it spoke to him. That was me, dude. And you know, you just, either you don't know or you didn't even fucking care. And what about your kids? 6 of them. Your youngest kids are fucking 5 years old, Chester. Fucking selfish, brother. Fucking selfish. What are they going to do? Dude, they're old enough to know who their daddy was. They're old enough to know who their daddy is. If I lost everything, my job, my health, if I had no other way of making a living, nothing to do, you know what? I still wouldn't kill myself. If I'd fucked everything over, I still wouldn't kill myself. You know why? Because of my daughters. My daughters mean the fucking world to me. And they're pretty much the only thing that would keep me alive. Why didn't it work for you, Chester? That's what I'd like to know. Why didn't it work for Chester Bennington? Was there a relapse somewhere? Was there something going? What happened? I would love to know what made you decide between tour dates to fucking hang yourself, dude. What was it? Maybe we'll never know. Just like we'll never know what exactly was going through Chris Cornell's mind. But the thing of it is I see pictures of Chris Cornell before he died, and he looks fucking miserable. Chris Cornell looks like a guy who is trapped in a loveless marriage with miserable kids. He doesn't look like he's having any fun at all. In fact, at that last gig, he didn't even look like he was fucking there. So with Chris Cornell, it's like, it sucks, but you know what? I got the vibe from Chris Cornell that he just got tired of shit. He just got tired of touring. He got tired of, it's like, well, I could either go on tour or I can go home. And neither one was a palatable option for him. So he took his own life. With Chester, you wouldn't have fucking known. Every picture of him, he's smiling. Everybody who talks to him says he's so fucking happy. I just gotta wonder, why? What are we gonna do? What are we as fans gonna do? Where was his support system? And something is like, they have people who depend on them to live. They have people who depend on them to live. You know, they're basically businesses on their own. What about their employees? What about the people who depend on them? I don't understand it. I don't think I will ever understand it. I don't think I'll ever understand it. But the unfortunate part of the day is, at the end of the day, Chester Bennington is dead at 41. Conclude this broadcast by saying how grateful I am for my friends. We had a trip. We went to Vegas. They were there for me when my mom passed. They said, we all got to get together. We all got together. And brother, we talked things out. We hashed things out. We had basic therapy in our room. Just shooting the shit, talking. It felt so good to be able to confide in those guys and to tell them what was going on and to have them confide in me. And it was a real brotherhood. I know that if I were ever thinking of doing something stupid, I could talk to one of them and they'd talk me out of it. You know, it's like we have that support. And if they were going to do something dumb, then I would talk them out of it. And I just got to wonder, it's so sad that Chester didn't think anybody was there. So if you know somebody, and I know you see it on Facebook, I know you see all this bullshit about see something, say something. If you know somebody, you're not alone. You know what? It is true. If you know somebody that's going through some hard times, at least try and talk to them. And say, hey, is there anything I can do for you? Or just sit with them. If they're alone, sit with them. And just be there. I don't know what Chester's support system was like. I don't know any of that. But I just wish that somebody would have sat with him and say, hey, Chester, just don't do this. Just please don't do this. I got to say, I'm sad, I'm pissed off, I'm all over the map. This affected me a lot more than Chris Cornell's death. Chris Cornell, I didn't get the same feeling. But Chester, for some reason, man, this really got me. So, if anything comes out of this, just, hug your family. Think about all the good things you have. Count your blessings. I know it sounds corny as fuck, but count your blessings. And realize that no matter what you're going through, it could be a lot worse. And that no matter who you are, you're loved by somebody. And that's reason enough right there to fucking keep going. Stay on this side of the grass. This concludes episode 30 of the Random Bytes Podcast. Available on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, and soon Spotify. I think. I have submitted this to Spotify, so we'll see what happens there. Although they just got sued for a shitload, so who knows if they'll be around. Anyway, all over the place. iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google Play, subscribe. And remember, it's Random Bytes, BYTES. Also, my website will be coming up shortly. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned it because it's not up yet, but it'll be coming up, therirshow.com. And tune in for more tomorrow. Tomorrow night being Friday night, I'll probably have some random topic to talk about. But until then, this is Alan Wayne saying goodnight and stay random.
When my time comes, forget the wrong that I've done. Help me leave behind some reasons to remember. And don't resent me. And when you're feeling empty, keep me in your memory, leave out